had understanding of what life was about. But now Satan could no longer deal with them because they had this knowledge, and so they were expelled. People who think for themselves. So here they come into this world, and the conflict is on. The powers of light, the powers of darkness. And each one of you have been involved in that conflict. You've felt it in your life. It's raged inside of you. And of all the things you've tried to do good, of all the prayers you said, of all the meditations you've done, and still this darkness was raging and coming against you for one reason or another. And what Monty was trying to point out, he's saying, you can't possibly win, because so much of the world is covered in this energy which is negative and darkness. You can't. And Amani said, and the problem is that the good God is so loving, so peaceful, so healing, so soft, so gentle, that he's passive with all of this. He can't even fight against this power. When the power of what you call Satan or the devil or darkness rages, God, on the other hand, is so passive and gentle. And Monty says can't contend with it. So it's true. And in your life, you say, well, you got all this coming against you. And so he says, well, we'll pray for you. So you can do. We'll pray for you. We'll meditate for you. So here now, then, he comes up with this idea that because good and evil in each human being, but each human being being born out of evil has a streak. But now, in addition, because of what happened with quote-unquote Adam and Eve, who also didn't exist, but what happened in that particular conflict between light and darkness, now everyone in them has the possibility to eat from this tree of knowledge, to confront evil, and to receive again the power of light. And so the Mani says that your whole concept, your whole life then is built about reaching, searching, to restore this light to your life. Can you imagine? I mean, can you imagine even, where there's churches up and down this highway, sitting in here and listening to, considering whether God is really the devil? And the devil is really God? Can you imagine such a thing? I mean, there'd be people, if they knew this, they'd be picketing and screaming and all of these things, and they'd be totally outraged. But if you're a very mature person looking at this possibility, we can consider the various angles of it and some very intriguing possibilities that are very important for each one of us as we get ready to, contend with what is coming down upon the earth and the astronomical changes. So let's be adult about it. Let's not be emotional about it. And let's see, could it be that even though God and Satan do not exist in the context in which we look for people, but we'll call them that to represent this power of good, the power of evil, the power of light, the power of darkness, could it be that the one that we thought was good is actually the bad one, and the one that could we be that we have spent all of our life praying to the bad guy? And then we wonder, why is everything screwed up? Mani was born in southern Babylon, which is now Iraq, but he was Persian. And he lived around 200 AD, and he died about 274 AD. Interesting, because I told you many times how, when we were talking about it last night, how each of you have a twin of a 45, 55, and that in the Quran, God says that all of his creations of life are made as twins. Well, Mani had two visions of an angel, which we call angles of light, but an angel manifesting in a physical form. And the angel, according to Mani, is the one who told him that this was the truth and this was the message that he had to get out to people. And he asked the angel's name, and the angel said, all you have to know is you have seen the twin. And so the angel who talked to Mani was known as the twin. The twin, who was an angle of light, appeared to Mani and told him what to teach. And then, what's very interesting, Mani at that point in time in that area was called the Apostle of Light and the Supreme Illuminator. The people, really got into what he was talking about. because they felt themselves that they could not possibly contend with the violence and the horrors that were on the earth. You know, I mean, all of our lives, you and I have spent being part of civilizations that went to war against other civilizations, and thousands upon thousands of people would get killed and napalmed and bombed and atomic bombed, and we'd celebrate. We'd have parades. Even in churches, we'd march flags and everything. It's crazy. But we did because that's the way we were. Mani taught that salvation came through a special knowledge, which is called gnosis, Gnosis. And what he said to each one of you is that life is unbearably painful and radically evil. But he said there's an inner illumination that revealed the soul, which shares the nature of God, which had fallen into this evil world of matter. Somehow, in some way, you know. And what we'll look at in a moment here, you know, you'll have to really sit back and think, is this the person when you were a little child, you got on your knees, were you praying to this person? You know, and even today, who is it that doesn't want you to know? Who is it that doesn't want you to have knowledge? It's the very institutions of religion who say, no, just have faith. Don't question anything. And that can take you right back to this make-believe garden. Just have faith. Don't question anything. But then inside of you, the serpent comes. And the serpent says, you must rise up and take from the tree of knowledge so that you'll know. Otherwise, you'll go down with them. And who is the serpent that speaks to you and says, you must rise up and take from the tree of knowledge? The coiled serpent, the kundalini, who rises up the spine, which is the tree, and takes from the tree of knowledge, which is the fruit of the tree, which is the pineal gland of the brain. And Mani said, to know oneself is to recover one's true self. To know oneself is to see one's soul as sharing in the very nature of God, not what we have out here. Knowing that despite your present condition, despite the condition you have in the material world, you do not cease to maintain yourself as connected to this transient.